All right, lock it in. Here we go. Epi number 7, the Yappisode. Not a whole lot going on in the hockey world. We're gonna just kick this off right away. We got Greg Smirschreiber on the call. We got Ryan Yapton America Badger on the call with me here. And hey, you're always repping USA, so I got to give it to you. You got the Yapton America title today. So how you doing, buddy?
I've actually been pretty well as of lately. This week it's been like relaxing, just kind of enjoying the last few weeks of summer. The other day I went golfing with my buddies. We played a two-man scramble. I know you're not the biggest golf
I am
guy.
not. I am not a golf guy at all. Yeah,
Yeah,
miss me with
but
that.
but we played a two-man scramble. Me and my buddy, we were 4 strokes down on hole 15, and we ended up tying it back on 18. The guy let us play hole 1 again as a hole 19 as a tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker. Yeah.
We ended up tying again. So we just kind of called it there. But we'll finish that another day. Um,
Yeah, you can't leave unfinished business on the table. You gotta run it back, you know? So
yeah. But other than that, I hung out with some friends recently. Just kind of everyone's getting ready to go back to school, so you're just kind of getting your last hangouts in with all your close friends.
yeah, I think you said that next week, you're going back to school, I believe Thursday,
Yeah,
yeah?
next Thursday.
Yeah.
Did you ever
So
find out when you're going back?
yeah, so all of my meetings and stuff start not next Monday, but the Monday after. So
Oh, so you still got a
I still
while.
got a little. I got a little bit left. Yeah, I got a little bit left. Like a couple more gym sessions without a crowded gym. Yeah, I hit that little seven
Yeah,
o'clock slot, and it's just perfect. But
yeah.
not for much longer. That's for sure.
Oh my god, I went at like noon one day and it was packed. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
So I have to go at 4 because I obviously leave school, whatever, on my way home. I
Yeah.
change right after school, drive straight to the gym. It's on my way home,
Mhm.
conveniently enough. But
Yeah.
hitting that, it's about like a 3:30, 3:35, depending on like what kind of pocket traffic I hit on my way
Yeah.
there, and it's just absolutely brutal. And if you are not like more than halfway done with your workout by 4, like it's miserable. It's just awful. You're waiting on everything, and it's like you can only wait for so long. So sometimes I get through like 3/4 of my routine, and I'm like, I literally cannot wait any longer. Like I'm not doing
But
it.
yeah, like I have to go home.
Yeah. Well, and it's
Uh,
the thing of like people don't really have respect for other people's time. Like they'll just sit on the
yeah, I know.
machine and they'll just be on their phone. They're doom scrolling. I mean, I've talked about it before off pod. I've had people sit on a machine and take 10, 15 minutes to do their sets, and it's crazy. And it's like not multiple different exercises where they're changing up the same thing on the same machine.
Yeah.
So I don't
There
know.
there was there was one time I hit 3 machines and this guy was on, like the leg machine next to the chest fly?
Yeah.
It it
Which one? Abductor or adductor? In
um
or out?
I'm not sure. You put your legs under this thing. Like, I
Under.
don't know. It like holds your legs in, but I saw him when I walked in, and then by the time I was done with chest fly, he was still sitting there on his phone. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
I, I
And
feel
and
I feel bad because there's this father son combo, and the son just like absolutely crushes it and flies through his stuff, and the dad's just like dragging. So that's pretty brutal. But yeah, I mean, I'm ready to go back to school. Kind of. It should be a
yeah,
pretty smooth year this year for me because I'll know 95-ish% of my students. We'll have a couple transfers, and then I won't know any of my kindergartners. But
yeah.
pretty excited for that transition. Um,
Mhm.
I got a new gym. Hopefully, it's opened up, ready to go. I still haven't heard anything about that, so that's kind of worrying me. But
Yeah.
we'll get there. But yeah.
Hallway gym classes?
No, thankfully, no. I'll get to go outside. I will be able to go
Yeah.
outside. Now the problem with that is kindergarten has never had PE before, so
Oh,
obviously
they're gonna be
that might be a little
yeah.
brutal, and I'm not gonna know any of them, so like that makes it even more brutal, and so we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. But
Uh,
I'm
I
hopeful that they're gonna let me just
yeah.
rip right from the gym.
I don't know if you were like this when you were younger, but I went back to school shopping with my mom the other day.
Yeah.
And like, did you always enjoy going, like, getting your notebooks, your folders, and stuff like that, and like going back to school clothes shopping, or is that just kind of like a me thing? Cause I don't know,
Oh,
I enjoy spending the day with my mom. Like we did lunch and then we got home around like 8 o'clock and we left at noon.
so I was like pretty like I would say lower middle class. We weren't like poor, but it was like, we had enough to get by. And
Yeah.
so for me, it was a little different. My mom would let me pick like a couple special things, but otherwise it was like the bare basics. Like, you're
Yeah.
getting the most generic folder there is, you're getting the most
Mhm.
generic notebooks there is. So for
Yeah.
that, like, I mean, I know my parents were absolutely working their tails off to make ends meet and
Mhm.
whatnot. So like, I'm grateful for everything they provided, but I don't think I had quite the same luxuries. I mean, again, my
Yeah.
mom has given everything she can, but
Mhm.
um, like I said, there was like a few little things. The big thing for me was always shoes.
Yeah.
It was never really like clothes. It wasn't, I
Mhm.
don't want to say I was buying the cheapest stuff there was, but it was always I always had to shop specifically at JCPenney where my mom works, so I was
Yeah.
kind of handcuffed to like whatever they had. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it's more interesting now as an adult and having my own money and being able to go back to school shopping. Like I
Yeah.
have to I have to buy all dry fit stuff just because I'm on my feet all day. I'm
Uh,
moving around all day, so
yeah.
gotta make sure I'm ready for that. But obviously my best accessory still is shoes. So
Mhm. Do
even
you, do you get anything like specific for your office? Like one cool thing every year? Cause I'm guessing you have an office at school, right?
yeah, so I do have my own office, but I don't really get anything special for it just because like
Mhm.
for the most part I don't spend a whole lot of time in there. I kind of check in there
Yeah.
in the morning and that's it. So
Mhm.
I don't really find the need to like go grab something like that. But I did
Yeah.
get a kind of like it. I think it's supposed to be like more of a gag gift, and it was like a coffee mug that's like a little like mini golf set where you like putt into the mug, which I thought was kind of sick. Like not even a golf guy, and I thought it was sick. So um, that was cool. It was unexpected. So I
Yeah.
came from a school where
Mhm.
like I was raking in like easily probably $250 worth of gifts like between the end of the school year and Christmas
Yeah.
break. And like that's not the reason that I do it, but it was a really stark contrast to go from that to getting like 3 gifts throughout the entire school year. So it was a little
Yeah.
weird, but again,
Mhm.
not the reason that I do it. And I'm not complaining, but it's just
Yeah.
very different.
Mhm.
But yeah, I know you posted your schedule on socials. Obviously, we're not going to deep dive into that, but I remember those
Yeah.
days of, we would upload them on social media. I think back in my day, I think it was MySpace we were posting them on. So just a little nostalgia blast for you there. But
Yeah.
uh,
I'm not fired up for my AP classes because I have them back to back to back.
okay,
So it's like I've got math first hour and then like second hour it's like a advisory like or a time to go to like classrooms to get help from your teachers.
sure.
And then I've got my 3 AP classes and then I've got lunch after that and then like culinary and then strength and conditioning. So my last 3 periods are honestly pretty light for like the whole school year,
Yeah,
but those mornings are gonna be rough.
yeah. That's a tough road there. I got my
Yeah,
schedule too, but mine's a lot different because I just teach
it's all
PE all day.
PE.
So very different, very different. I do have a very depending on the way that you look at it, I have a very favorable schedule. I have all of my older kids in the beginning of the day, so my mornings are actually very
Yeah,
easy, and then the end of the day is, I have
a little
kindergarten. I think
rough.
it goes kindergarten first, second. I think I go up the ladder at the end of the day, something like
Hmm.
that. I think I go 5-3. I think it's 5-3-4, and then my lunch K1-2, something like that. So
How
pretty.
how do like how do like the like periods work in kindergarten? Because I remember when I was in or like elementary school, it was like a specific like time throughout the day. Like it would be like 30 or 45 minutes. You'd just go into gym class.
Yeah, so we have 40-minute blocks, which admittedly are kind of brutal. I came from a school where I was teaching 30 minutes, and like
Uh-huh.
kids usually gas out around the 20-25 minute of activity mark. So adding that extra 10
Yeah.
minutes is kind of tough. Um,
Yeah.
it gives me a lot of time to kind of yap. I don't feel as bad about spending more time
Like
talking
explaining
about,
stuff.
yeah, explaining, kind of deep diving into like the skills side of things. But for the little guys, they don't have as much of an attention span. They can't sit there
Yeah.
and listen to it. So, um,
Yeah.
getting them up and moving is really important. Obviously, I start. They come in and they're not messing around. We're getting straight to work. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. We'll see, because unfortunately, school has become more and more quote unquote customer service, with always catering to parents. But I still love what I do.
hmm do you have any specific like fitness testing or stuff? Because I remember doing like the pacer test and stuff like that throughout all of elementary school.
Yeah, so that's state mandated. I don't have a choice. They
Okay.
basically tell me, hey, you're gonna do this, and so I do it. Do they care about the numbers? No. Like I'll be very honest. If I wanted to, I could just make it up and say we did it and never do it.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, I do it. I do it the right way. I usually use third and fourth as kind of the stepping stones, and I kind of get it a little more serious as we go up, because fifth grade is the one that counts. Fifth
Yeah.
grade is when the state finally cares about it, and they say, "Hey, we need your data." But yeah, I mean, I try and be pretty diligent about it. I try and waste as little time as I can. I think last year I did 1 day of sit and reach just because it takes so long.
Yeah.
Call a couple kids over, like, hey, you guys can play basketball on this side, play volleyball this side. We're getting our sit and reach done today. Like, once you come over here, get your test done, the rest of the time is yours. Like, do what you need to.
Yeah.
But then all the other tests are group tests. I do the push up test as a group test. I do the curl up test as a group test, and we do the pacer all as a group. So,
Curl up test? Oh, is
yeah.
that
So
like
it's instead of
it's
sit
the
ups.
setup?
It's
Oh,
instead
okay.
of
Yeah.
sit ups, because they don't want you to do sit
Yeah.
ups because they're bad for your back. That whole nine. We don't have to deep dive into that, but
Yeah.
they changed it. Whatever.
It's like a little crunch.
Yeah, it's like literally like a crunch without fully coming up off of the ground. Like, that's
Yeah,
literally what it is.
like when I do them are
It's the
like
hand slide. It's like
yeah,
your
yeah.
hands have to slide up to your knees, or
hmm
over your knees and down.
Like if this is your back, you literally have to go up like that far.
Yep. Yep.
It seems like kind of pointless in my opinion because it's not like an entire sit up.
I used to
Because
crush the sit up test. When it was actual sit ups, I would
really,
crush that. I would suck at everything else. Like, straight up, I'd be terrible. But like that sit up test would go, I'm like, boom, let's go, baby. Like, let's go. Fire me up.
see now I'm the complete opposite. Like, I was always good at the pacer test and I was horrible at sit ups. But now that it's the curl up test, I mean like I get the max score every time now because it's like
So I don't know what the scores are in high school, because I don't have to know them, because I don't
I
teach high school, and I
yeah
don't teach middle school either. So I don't even know what the seventh grade score is. I cut my kids off. Like, we hit
at what number?
we hit the healthy fitness zone number, like whatever that number is for the test, and I'm like, hey, we're done. Like, we're not
Really?
gonna waste any more time. Like, you guys got the passing score. That's what the state cares about. Like, we're done. Like, let's move on. Let's get to what you guys actually want to do, because they don't care. They
Yeah.
don't care. I mean, some of the kids, your hyper competitive kids are gonna be like, I wanted the highest score in the class. It's like, yeah, but does it
Yeah.
really matter? Like, no, like,
Mhm.
compete in a game, like compete in soccer, compete in basketball, like that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So
Because in high school and middle school, I think the max score is 75. So for like that's for push-ups. Pacer test, I think it's just go until you can.
yeah.
Um,
Well, so they
then
score the pacer test really weird. It's not like a set number, because technically the way you're supposed to do it is by your VO2 max, and that's a whole different can of worms, because you need to know like height, weight, that kind of thing.
uh
But I know
um
that some teachers, myself included, kind of go the roundabout way, and we kind of like guesstimate, and they're kind of like, hey, I know kind of where you're at, so we
uh
loosely use a number. But
yeah, because I remember first semester of sophomore year, because we do it twice a year, because
sure,
we go by semester.
yeah.
Um, but I managed to get 118 or 120 as a sophomore on the pacer test. And I don't really know where that ranks,
No, that's pretty
but
good,
yeah.
pretty solid.
I've always enjoyed doing it for some reason. I mean, I get flack about it sometimes, but I mean, I don't really care to be honest. It's something I kind of enjoyed like testing myself on because when I was in elementary school, I'd max it out every single time.
Yeah,
But because I remember it would be like kind of a flex if you could finish the pacer test.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah, for sure.
it would always be like, "Hey, what'd you get? Hey, what'd you get?" And like everyone would just compare their scores. So you never wanted to be the kid that always got like a super low score. But now, like since we're in high school, I mean, I guess people don't necessarily care as much.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
see, that's
my
the climate that I don't want. Is exactly what you're talking about, right?
yeah,
Like that's I don't care about that. I'm like, hey, can you pass this or not?
yeah.
And that's kind of where we land things.
Mhm.
So random off topic fitness test yep from us today. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have it on my bingo card, so get the little dotter down and mark it off. But
If you had it on your bingo card, that's impressive.
yeah, oh trust me, I would be raking it in. We'll get to the one piece of hockey news that we have, and then we can kind of segment off into some kind of new stuff that we're gonna try out, and then maybe we'll share some hockey memories. I guess I don't know. We'll see where we're at. The only hockey news that I was able to find this week that actually was substance, that was more than just rumors, was Oscar Clefbaum finally hanging up the skates. I don't really have a ton to say about him. I know that he was supposed to be a very high end talent, bigger body. It was supposed to be a very good puck mover. But any of these guys where we see them last played 3 years ago, there's got to be kind of something else going on there. So, any quick thoughts
Yeah.
on this guy?
I remember him having injury trouble. Like I think of him as the like older version of what the Oilers have now in Philip Broberg in a way. I think Clefbaum's top end talent was definitely more top tier than what Broberg has. Um, but yeah, I think if he didn't have that injury trouble, he'd still be going strong right now. What's it called? I saw a Instagram post that said if Clefbaum like didn't have his struggles like with injuries and stuff, Darnell Nurse probably would have never gotten that 9.25 contract, and the Oilers would probably be in a way better situation than what they are now. I mean, they went to the Stanley Cup final this year, but like
Where do you pay Nurse? Like, just this isn't on the record of our scheduled programming, basically, but what's a fair deal? Because we know how awful that contract looks now, but like, what's an actual fair? Like, let's say you got to reassign his cap number. What are you putting him at? What's fair?
well, I mean, I don't really know his point totals off the top of my head. But I don't think it's like outstanding. I'd probably give him between 3 and 5.
I was looking at like 5, just being a little
Yeah,
generous for those times where he does
yeah,
kind of show up, but
yeah.
I mean, obviously, you can't do that in the NHL. We don't have restructuring of contracts like other leagues, NFL. Um,
Tyreek
that
Hill just restructured his.
that's such a weird concept. Like, I don't know, it's very bizarre, and we don't have deferred money either, like the MLB does, where you could have a
Mhm.
$500 million contract and get paid $2 million a year. Shohei Ohtani, what's up?
That's insane. Because then
Yeah.
he gets paid 2 million for like what 7 years, and then the eighth year it's like 480.
No, so he gets like something ridiculous where like he gets paid out past his contract. So
What?
yeah, it's this super weird thing. It's kind of the reason that you've probably heard of Bobby Bonilla Day, yeah? So
Mm-mm.
July 1st every year, I believe it's the Mets. Oh, Bobby Bonilla like a million, it's like just over $1 million until like 2034 or something ridiculous. And they've
So
owed him
he's
this
like,
money, and they've owed him this money for a long time. Like, dude's retired, and he's still on their
uh
payroll.
so he's like the Rick DiPietro of the
Yes,
MLB.
yes, exactly like that. Yes.
Okay.
So anyway, I was just curious where you thought his fair number is. Like I said, a pre-show, I saw top 10 worst contracts, and obviously a lot of those teams would love to have those back. Obviously, if you're on a list of that, and he
Yeah.
was he was quite high up there. Your Hawkeys and Seth Jones were another one. Um, that one's got a sting.
That's when you definitely want back.
And I know we bring it up, and it's kind of like a joke, and it's just kind of like a running joke, I guess, of our show. But
I
um,
I just think like you didn't have to sign him right away. Like
no,
I think because the Blackhawks they were just trying to give Kane and Taves one more
they
chance
were trying to
at
give him a final ride. Yeah.
with like adding Fleury and Seth Jones as the two main pieces, but we were horrible that year.
Yeah, it was not a good year. Not a
No.
good year.
Like I was so fired up for that season, and then we just lost like so many games, and I'm like, dude, I was so disappointed.
Yeah. I think I went to a game that season, or was that the COVID season where they weren't allowed fans?
Prob-
I can't remember.
Mm, I don't remember. Might have been the year before.
I think I went and saw the year that you guys had Cam Ward. Didn't you guys have him like right before he retired, right? I
Yeah,
saw him shut out the Preds, and I was like,
dude,
"What is going on? This
he
guy's like 40. Like, what is
dude,
going on?"
he was gross. He was sick.
He was a great tendy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
That's not at all what I'm saying. But like, you
he
just
was
don't
just on the
expect
older
these.
side.
Yeah, when you get to the older side, and like especially like with the groin and the hips and everything,
Yeah.
and you've been doing it for so long, you get that injury concern,
Hmm.
because it's a big deal for tendies. You know, you got to be able to slide side to side, push from post to post. So
Yeah.
obviously a lot of concern there. So to see him just kind of wall up was a little wild, but oh, just a trip down memory lane. Nothing new here. Nothing new here.
That
Um,
kind of leads into the Scott Foster talk you wanted to get into, right?
yeah. So apparently you've never heard this story, and this is like an all timer in terms of like just hockey greatness, right? Like people love the e-bug situation, and
I think this was like the first like main instance of it, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. So I would say that this was like the
The
big one
beginning.
for sure. You know, Ayers came after this. Um, who's the other? There's another big one that I'm missing.
I'm not 100%
But
sure.
Ayers is the big one that everybody knows, right? Oh, the
Yeah.
Zamboni driver. Well, I believe Scott Foster's a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
So he's the emergency backup for the Blackhawks, and I forget who their tendy was at the time. I can't remember. I want to say
Is he
it was post
is,
Crawford. I'm pretty sure.
um if it was, it might have been the year after. He was gone or traded to New Jersey and then retired. I thought that was funny. We traded him and then he was just gone. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah, that was a little interesting situation. Well, I don't remember who the starting goalie was.
Yeah.
Well, they went down. Maybe I'll quickly fact check myself just so I know kind of where we're at with who was the tendy. Um,
Do you
but
remember
I,
what
I went to that
year?
game. It was what I do know is that the game was against the Winnipeg Jets, I believe. Um,
Was that the game that we both went to, or was no?
no, because you would have known because you would have been there.
I know, but I don't remember if I like forgot or something. I feel like
So
that's something I.
it was 2017, 2018, but for whatever reason, it doesn't like. There's no way to get the actual game log.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure if I Googled it really quick, I could find it. But he
Mm-hmm.
he only faced 7 shots, but
Because he
like
came in fairly late.
he did, yeah. So he got 14 minutes of time in net, which
Mm-hmm.
a little bit less than a full period. But like
Yeah.
this game, if I remember right, and I'm gonna just pull up the stats.
He didn't let a goal in. I know
He did
that.
not. No, he definitely did not. But there was like a big surge from, and I'm like 99% sure that it was the Jets. Why is this showing that it was the Blues? Because it definitely was not. That is definitely Google giving me wrong information. I don't love that. But there was
How
like a
how
big surge from, and I'm like 99% sure it was Winnipeg.
mhm. How furious were you that they ended up losing that game?
So I'm a known Blackhawks hater.
Yeah.
I do not deny it. I will not deny it. But I was pretty riled up. Yeah.
Do
I
you
mean, it
remember
was
what the
just it
final
was
score ended up
crazy because
being?
like when you're there in the moment, like nobody really knew like what was going on, right?
Yeah.
Like people were just like, "What in the world? Like what happens?" And so like it was really cool to me. Like in the moment, you're just like, "Dude, I don't even know what's going on." And like I'm a big hockey guy. The people that I were with are less so, I would say.
Hmm.
but it was just really, really crazy because all of a sudden it's like, oh, both tendies are hurt. Like, what's next? And
Yeah,
then
it's kind of like a once in a lifetime like opportunity to witness that in person.
does NHL.com have this wrong? I promise you, this game was not against the Blues. I would not have gone to a Blues game. There would be no reason for me to go.
Maybe you got the tickets.
It's weird because like ESPN doesn't have stuff from the 17-18 season. They just have the 18-19 season. So like as I'm trying to look this up, it's just
Yeah.
like a mad scramble and nothing happens.
Yeah, it was against Winnipeg.
Yeah, see, it was against Winnipeg. What was
Yeah.
so?
I
What
looked up
was
a
the?
picture and he's making a save against
Is that
Blake Wheeler.
Shife? Oh, it's
No, I
Wheeler.
think it's Blake. It's 25, so that's not
25,
Blake Wheeler.
26 was Wheeler.
Yeah. 36-year-old accountant who has never played pro.
Oh, he's an
hockey.
accountant.
So,
I thought he was a lawyer.
yeah.
I thought he was.
It was one of
accountant. That's
those
my bad.
like high-end jobs or something.
Yeah. Why is this? It still doesn't show up. Like I switched the year and it still doesn't show up right. That's so crazy. Well, anyway, if I'm not mistaken, I think Shifley scored earlier in that game, and big Shifley guy, by the way.
Yeah. You have his jersey, right?
I do.
That's your like baby blue Jets jersey.
Yeah, so I have a picture. I have a picture of us at that game still. I'll have to send it to you
Yeah.
after the show. Like
I remember seeing it somewhere. It was my mom may have sent it to me or something when she was going through her photos.
I'll have to, yeah. So I'll have to get the picture that we took when I came to your game and have him framed in
Yeah.
the same frame now.
Mhm.
But yeah, wild experience because this guy comes in and obviously like that's you kind of as the opposing player you kind of smell blood in the water, right? Like, hey, this guy, what's he really got? And now the cool thing
Mhm.
was and this is coming from somebody who doesn't want the home team Blackhawks to win. Their defense really rallied around Scott Foster. So like those 7
Yeah.
shots, like I know that in 14 minutes that sounds like pretty decent volume, I would say. Like it doesn't sound great, but that's decent volume. I would say that in that time alone, there was probably just as many block shots easily.
Yeah.
Like Winnipeg was really coming after that game. So but yeah, pretty cool experience. Do you have any like really cool live experiences? I've never seen a hat trick here.
I've never seen one.
I saw a hat trick in Nashville, but
Mhm.
that was it. So,
I
I didn't get crazy.
I have 2 funny stories. One about my first Blackhawks game and then one about my second game.
Sure.
So my first ever Blackhawks game, I went with my dad, my dad's buddy, and then his son, who's one of my lifelong friends.
Sure.
And first ever Blackhawks game, I'm excited to see them like score a goal.
Yeah, of course.
They're playing Anaheim, and this is when I was like 5 or 6 or something, so I was like really little. I still have the sign I had from that game.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But I think it was like first or second period. Brent Seabrook falls down, gives this guy a 1-on-0 against Crawford, and he roofs it. 1-0 Anaheim in like the second period. I'm like, okay. Oh, that sucks. Okay, I probably figured they were going to get scored on. Rest of the game goes by, nothing. Like they ended up losing 1-0, and I'm like, what a first game.
Yeah, it's
didn't even get to cheer.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Shutouts are the worst when like you're cheering for the team that gets shut out. It's like you spend all that money and then you can't like even see them score.
True.
But that's just how it works. That's the risk you take.
No, 100%.
Yeah. And then moving on to the second game, they play Tampa, and it's 0-0 throughout the entire game. It gets to be like the final minute of the third period, like maybe 30 seconds left.
Sure.
And my dad's like, okay, let's go to the bathroom now. So then by the time overtime starts, we'll be back in our seats. So we do that. We get back. Overtime, like it's just about to start when we get back to the seats. My mom and sister made the mistake of waiting until the intermission. And you know how the ladies' restroom is always 50 people long, like the line.
I mean, in fairness, so is the guys, but that line moves a little quicker.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
yes, I know
So
exactly what you're talking about.
so the puck drops and the what's it called? Jonathan Tays like gets the puck right off the draw like 19 seconds in. He scores on I think it was Ben Bishop at the time.
Sure.
Hawks win 1-0 in overtime. Second game. So both games I've been to have been 1-0. One in favor of the Hawks and one not in favor. But then my sister and mom were in the bathroom when they scored. So my mom is furious because they hear over the speakers in the bathroom, Taze gets it, he shoots, he scores. And my sister's probably on like the toilet or something. And it was just, it's something we laugh about now, but my mom was so mad because she was telling my sister, you can wait 5 minutes because like overtime's not that long. So it's just something to look back, like a core family memory.
No, that's a funny one too, because like your mom is definitely like very like, let's go hockey time, like, so that's really funny. Yeah, I don't have any like missed overtime stories like that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I
I
actually
did see Bedard's first shootout goal. I did
Really?
see that. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was on none other than UC Saros. But anyway,
Yeah.
um,
I actually have another story of when I went to a game against Columbus. My buddy took me, who used to be on my team, but now he goes to a different school and everything. Um,
he
but
goes to a different school. You wouldn't know him. Same energy. I'm sorry.
but what's it called? He had season tickets, so we were like 3 or 4 rows off the glass on the Blackhawks side.
Okay.
So we I think in warm-ups I ended up getting a puck. Hold on, let me get it real quick.
We're getting field trip time. We getting special here. We getting the field trip. Ladies and germs, he's dropping stuff.
So I got a puck flipped to me in warm-ups. So
Got the little warmy puck. When was that? 2019. Nice.
February 16th, 2019.
It's right before
But
COVID.
yeah,
That was
almost like
legit right before COVID.
yeah. So then the game goes on and he's like, "Hey, do you want to go stand by the Blackhawks tunnel like with like 2 minutes left?" And then so we walk over there, we go do that cuz it's like maybe 9 sections over, so we walked like the carousel and then we go down and there were like 2 seats open, so we went right up to the thing and Marcus Kruger ended up handing me a stick. So I ended up walking out of that game with a puck and a Marcus Kruger game used stick. So that was pretty cool.
Kruger, righty or lefty?
Oh, he's a lefty. So
Ooh, tough break.
yeah.
Tough break. It's all right. There's not too many. There's not too many right-handed players.
Yeah, that stick is huge though. Like it was like it's now the size of my sticks now, but
Yeah.
like it was massive for the longest time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's always good to go down memory lane. Hopefully, we'll be able to share some more stories as we continue the podcast. But
Mhm.
I don't have any more good ones. I do have one, but I want to save it. Now's not the
Yeah.
episode for it. But I have a really good one.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I've told it already. Did I share the hurricane story?
I don't
I can't wait to share that one. Then that's a good one.
think so.
That is a great one. I went to a Hurricanes Hawks game. I'll share that one another time though.
Mhm.
We're gonna try something different today, and we're gonna do a little redraft here. And pre-show, we decided which one. And all right, so we're gonna try something, and we're gonna do a little redraft. Decided pre-pod to pick a year, kind of go thumb through it a little bit, so we're not sitting here scrolling. We've got our list. We're gonna redraft the 2019 draft class, which, as we were kind of looking back on it, I thought it was a really weak draft class. What about you?
Very weak. I
Yeah.
thought it was insanely weak. Like looking back on more recent ones, like it was pretty rough.
I mean, it was weird because like we're just gonna do the top 10. We're not gonna do like a full round or anything. And to be honest, like it would be crazy to try and pick 32 guys for the first round in this one, or
Oh,
31.
that would take
'cause
for
not
That would
only
take
would it take forever,
forever.
but it was like how much research would we have to do? So
Oh,
we're just gonna do a little top 10. It's nothing too crazy, but we're just gonna kind of go through some of these names and kind of just kind of rip through it, and hopefully this kind of style of stuff is something new and something fresh for us. So we're not gonna do it all the time, but in these down times where it's just a whole bunch of talking, I mean, we kind of have to. Because unlike bigger podcasts, we don't have guests to come on and kind of cut up some of our time. So, all right. So 2019 draft class. This is probably the easiest first overall pick. I mean, other than like the McDavid, Sid years, Bedard years, generational talents. I guess I wouldn't consider this guy a generational talent, but this is Jack Hughes year. So
yeah, I think this is a pretty much like a no-brainer. Same like with the top 3.
yeah, I
I'd
think we have the
say.
same top 3. I think we talked about it
Yeah.
pre-show, and I think we have the exact same top 3, in
Mhm.
order, I believe. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's no doubt Jack Hughes is first overall here. He probably hits 100 points this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
if he can
mean,
stay healthy,
yeah, he's had injury trouble, but when he's healthy, he's awesome.
he's
Like
so
he's just
dynamic.
like he's electric.
Yeah, that he's like another guy in this draft class, but better. He's like Zegras, but like can actually put it together. Like, listen, Zegras has got all the skill in the world, but like he just can't seem to put it together. He gets those like highlight reel bits, but like it's not consistent.
Yeah, and I feel bad for him because like he seems like a great guy. Like interviews I've watched, like he seems like an awesome dude to be around.
He seems like a bro. Like there's no other way to describe it than he's just a bro. I mean, so is Jack Hughes. Don't get me wrong. Jack Hughes is a bro, absolutely too. But
I think Zegers did an interview on top of his house one time, watching the sunset with chiclets.
That's awesome. That's a baller move right there. That's what that is.
And he was wearing like a frog hat or something. I was like, what the
heck? I love it. I love when guys show their personality though. Like I hate when guys are so buttoned up they give that cliche hockey interview. Like, listen, I get it. There's like some guys are PR nightmares, like when you're saying stuff that's so off the cuff, but yeah, I mean there's not too much to say about Jack Hughes here. Pretty weak draft class. He's one of the very few really shining stars here, I would say. Do you want to kick off your number 2 since I kind of gave the consensus number 1?
Yeah, I think we both have Mo Sider going here.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of I don't think he's hit his peak yet, but I think he's definitely proven that he's Detroit's number 1 defenseman and will be for probably the rest of his career unless they draft someone unbelievable in the like these upcoming years.
Unless they get Makar 2.0. Like literally, like that's the kind of guy you need to surpass Mo Sider, I would say.
Yeah. I'd say Mo Sider is like a Victor Hedman like type player. Like he's bigger and he can still put up like offensive numbers and he's very like defensively sound.
I think he's kind of had like he's kind of a player who's had like a tale of two gameplays. So like we saw that really big offensive outburst. I believe that was his rookie year where we saw him just putting up points and like he looked incredible. And we knew he was going to be defensively sound, but then, you know, last year, you know, everybody says like the sophomore slump, like, yeah, whatever. But last year we really saw him look more defensively sound than we thought. And that was kind of more of the focus than the point production. So if he can merge those two together, this guy's a top 10, maybe pushing into the top 5 defensemen. The top 5 defensemen are so hard to crack, though, that it's really hard to put him in that top 5 conversation.
Yeah. I think in a few years when maybe some of those guys retire, like Yossi's getting up there in age. Like how many years do you think he has left?
At this level, probably 4 at the max.
Exactly. So
and I'm a Preds homer. Like okay, I'm not a homer. I'm just a big fan. I won't lie and say I'm a homer.
You're a homer.
I'm not a homer. That's not true.
You're a homer.
That's not true. I'll be very realistic about the Preds. I will be very realistic about them. So I can't really say that's a homer. If I was like, oh yeah, Preds are the best team ever, they're winning the cup every year, like yeah, then I'm a homer. But it's not the case. All right, number 3. I think this is where our similarities stop, at least for a little bit. Number 3, I've got Caulfield. If I'm in their slot, I'm taking Cole Caulfield. You know, a lot of times we doubt these guys that are maybe on the smaller side, but this guy just has a knack for finding the back of the net. He showed it time and time again.
I think he's a 50 goal scorer when he's healthy.
Yeah.
Because I think the year they went to the Cup Finals, he had 40, right? Or no, that was
I
a
was gonna say I don't think
season.
so because it was a shortened season. I was just about to say that's a good catch.
There was one season he had 40.
Yeah, he's hit
and
40 before.
yeah, and it went like he's just had injury trouble, and you feel for a guy like that. Like you never want to see a guy go down with an injury, but like especially with a guy with his top end talent, and I'd say a leader on that young Montreal team, being that he's probably one of the older young guys.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's a fair statement.
But really, other than that, like I think, like, imagine this dude on the Blackhawks.
Well, it's weird too because this was originally the Blackhawks pick, and the guy that they picked, Kirby Doc.
Yeah.
You know, when he's healthy, he's one of the better two-way players in the league.
Yeah, but he's been injured like ever since he got hurt at the Canada World Juniors camp.
World Juniors, yep. He fractured his wrist, right? It was a full fracture, I think.
There's something like that. Like he was done for a while.
Yeah, and then he came back and he tore an ACL right away.
I don't know.
Because then he missed the full year. It was crazy, and he started off hot after that.
And he only played like 13 games this season. So yeah.
All right, who you got at 4, buddy?
I've got Matt Boldy.
Okay, so this is where I think we flip-flop these next 2 picks. So
do you have Byram?
Yeah, I've got Byram at 4.
Okay.
So we flip-flop, or do you not have Byram at 5?
I have Byram at 5.
Okay, so we flip-flop here. So I've got Byram Boldy, you've got Boldy Byram.
I think I just have Boldy up one spot because Byram hasn't necessarily showed that he's that top 2 defenseman.
No, agreed.
I mean, granted, he was playing under Makar for all of his career, basically, and then he got traded to Buffalo. But I still think even though he was on that second pair in Colorado, he still wasn't putting up the point totals to where you could say, "Oh, this guy's a top 2 defenseman."
Yeah, and it's I don't want to say that it's easy to put up points in the NHL, but if you look at that forward group, and even if you were just passing the puck. Like, you would have to put up decent point totals with that forward group in Colorado that he played with.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Moving on to...
Go ahead. Sorry. No, you're good. He kind of felt the same way as Sider, right? Where so I think he's got the same problem that Sider's had, where he kind of tries to put it together offensively and then... has tried to put it together defensively, and he can't really put the 2 together. That's just kind of my take on him. But
I'd agree.
Matt Boldy, you've got him at 4. I've got him at 5. Why do you have him ahead of Bo Byram? Other than Bo Byram, you think hasn't really hit that top 2 guy?
I think Matt Boldy has kind of shown since he's been in the league. Like, I think he's been a consistent 20-goal guy. Did he ever hit 30?
He had a monster year.
Yeah, he really broke out this season.
Let me double check that just so I'm sure. Okay. But I know he had a monster year.
Yeah, because he
hit 30 2 years ago.
Okay.
And then he hit 29 last year.
Okay. So yeah, he's I'd say a consistent 30 goal scorer since he entered the league. And for the Wild to have that, I'd say he's playing on the top line with Kaprizov, right? Like, he showed that top end talent. And that's just kind of a deal breaker for me when it comes to a comparison like that.
Do you think that he is a byproduct of the line that he's on? And I'm not saying that I believe that. I'm just asking genuinely.
I think it helps. I wouldn't say it's as heavy as the McDavid effect, because Kaprizov had a down year this year and he still put up 29.
I'm pretty sure Kaprizov still had an insane year. I'm pretty certain he just still popped off, because there was a time where he was just carrying that team this year. Like, he was trying to will them on his back.
Mm-hmm. I could be getting my numbers mixed up. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, Kaprizov had 96 points. It was 2 years ago. He had a down year because he played only 67 games.
Oh, okay.
And he was still above a point per game. So, like,
Yeah.
that's pretty wild. Yeah, he had 96 this year. So he was just shy of 100. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's always hard to talent assess, especially for forwards when you have really high-end skill guys. Like, in terms of raw skill, like, Kaprizov's, like, probably a top 5 guy in the league. In terms of raw skill. So,
I think you could argue top 10, but
anyway. Number 6 in this draft class. Again, this is kind of I would say this is the real fall off right here.
Yeah.
I don't.
Who do you have?
I don't think that we share this pick, but maybe we do.
I don't think we do.
Who do you got at 6? Go for it.
I've got Thomas Harley.
So do I. Yeah. So we're the same on this one. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this guy I think is kind of showing his stride. Obviously, he was kind of putting the biscuit in the basket a lot last year for a defenseman. Last week was one of our trivia answers. You know, if you know, you know. But I don't know. It's just a weak class, and I think that if this guy gets more ice time, which, I mean, there's that weird Stars situation where they were kind of rolling 5 guys really for most of that playoff series or series, that we can see even bigger strides from him. I think there are some concerns about his defensive game, but I mean, that's going to come in time.
Yeah, I think we really saw him like take a step last year, and then he kind of continued it into this year, producing all those points. Because last year, did he play the full season or no?
Last year, did he play the full season?
Because I feel like last year he was a rookie and he only played like a little chunk of the season.
Yeah, I know he burned his rookie eligibility last year. Like, he played enough to burn that.
Okay.
He played in. He played in 79 last year. So
it was the year before then.
His rookie year was actually 21-22. And he played 34 games and had only 4 points. Oh. He was getting 13 minutes of time on ice, and now last year he was up to 21.
Yeah.
So big jump, probably moving into that second pair.
Yeah. Really saw him break out this year, and I think he'll continue to be a really good defenseman.
Definitely. I mean, that team just has a way with young talent and turning them into something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Number 7, first goalie off the board for me. Are we the same on this one too? We are not. All right. So I've got a lot of faith in this guy. When I saw how low he was drafted, I was kind of stunned by it. You had actually brought him up on the pre-show.
Yeah.
And I have a ton of faith about this guy. Dustin Wolf is the guy going off the board here for me at 7.
I have Dylan Cousins going at 7. So same spot as when he was drafted.
Yeah. So I've got Cousins sliding down 1 to 8.
Okay.
So
why do you have Wolf so high?
Man, he's in such a terrible situation in Calgary. And I think that for me, a lot of it's the inconsistency.
Do we see him get traded because of Markstrom?
Why would we see him get traded?
Like Dustin Wolf, like I'm sure with his high end talent and potential, like why would he want to be the backup?
Isn't Dustin Wolf in Calgary still?
Yeah, but like, do you think he gets traded?
I'm still so confused. Why would he get traded though? He's their guy now, no? Because they just traded Markstrom.
Markstrom got traded?
Yeah.
Wait, am I an idiot?
I'm not calling you an idiot, but yeah, Markstrom got traded to New Jersey, buddy.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Never mind. Scratch that. Scratch that entire.
I'm not clipping it. I'm not clipping it out. It's staying there. But
we're
gonna both look a little silly there because I'm confused and you're confused and it's fine. But
That was a
Yeah.
little brain fart moment.
So Dustin Wolf does have kind of some not great stat lines. He's got a sub 900 save percentage. It's just shy of 900, but
Yeah.
if this is on talent, I think is the big thing, and he's shown flashes that he can take over a game. That's
Yeah.
kind of why I put him at ahead of Cousins. I don't think Cousins is necessarily a bad player.
Yeah.
He's shown the same kind of thing actually, in my mind,
Yeah.
where he's kind of in and out of games. You know, some games you'll see this big performance from him, and then other games he'll just kind of disappear. You know, he had a 68-point year 2 years ago, and then 47 last year. Like
Yeah.
he had about the same number of games. You know, he went from 81 to 79. Like those two games are not enough for 21 points. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Time on ice hasn't really changed enough, so it's not like he wasn't really in their rotation.
Mhm. It's just the inconsistency that's a little scary.
Well, and I think that goes to show a lot about this draft class too, because we're picking two guys inside the top 10 that are inconsistent.
Yeah.
Right? Like Cousins hasn't kind of pieced
Mhm.
it together as being consistent. And Dustin Wolf, I don't know, maybe he'll show me that I'm wrong when he gets a bigger sample size. But I think a lot of it was that he was splitting that time with Markstrom last year. And he was also a late season call up, I believe. I don't think he was.
Yeah, he didn't play the entire season.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. Inconsistency is a big one. Hopefully we'll get some easier draft classes to kind of run through. Maybe where the decisions are a little bit harder because the talent is so high. But we're down to our bottom two picks here. I don't know if you have the same two guys that I do, but I'll let you kick off number 9.
I think we have 8 through 10 still.
Oh, sorry. I gave 8 because I have Dylan Cousins at 8.
Oh, okay. So then I have Matthias Michelli at 8.
Okay.
Like I
have
think
him at 9. So go ahead and kick this conversation off. It's fine.
Yeah. So I just think with Matthias Michelli, like he was up there in the Calder voting last year. I'm sure. And he's had stints this year, and he really like took a big step this year. I think he was a 20-goal scorer playing on that Coyotes team who wasn't necessarily that good playing at Mullet Arena. I think we're really going to see him thrive in Utah, and I think he has a lot more to show. What are your thoughts on that? I don't know if we'll have the same
So
opinion.
I think that one of the biggest things about Matthias Michelli is his vision. If it seems like in the small sample size that I've seen is he's kind of always looking for the next pass before he even has the puck on his stick, which I think is something that you can't really teach. Like you kind of just have to, you either have it or you don't. And this is a guy that definitely has
it's hockey
it.
sense.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is a guy who's had almost 40 assists in both of his seasons that he's been up in the big squad. You know, he had 38 assists in 22-23 and then 40 last year. So, I mean, that goes to show it right there. He has not hit the 20-goal marker yet. He was very close last year with 17.
Okay. And then moving on to pick 9, I have Dustin Wolf. We already went over him. And then we just went over Michelli for you. So we'll just skip over right to pick 10. I think we both have the same here.
Do we have the same number 10?
Yeah, I think Peter Kochetkov.
Yeah, I also have Kochetkov.
Okay.
Yeah. This guy I feel like is in kind of one of the weirdest situations in the NHL, and still has kind of made the most of it.
Yeah.
We see flashes that he could be elite, and then we see flashes where he becomes a hothead. So it's kind of this weird kind of back and forth, and he's a Russian tendy. Like let's call this the way that it is. They have a tendency to like really be, what's the right word for this? Aggressive, I guess. Obviously everybody's heard the stories of what's Tampa's goalie? Why can't I think of his name?
Vasilevsky.
Yeah, I don't know why I was drawing a blank on Vasi, but Vasi has like been very outspoken, like don't pull me, like literally do not pull me, like and we've seen that specifically from Russians a ton. So I don't know if it's his attitude holds him back or what it is, but we've definitely seen that this guy can go out there and game, but I don't know. There's a little bit of hesitation. I think kind of like Dustin Wolf, one of the big things is his play time. He was in kind of that really weird like 3 goalie carousel last year in Carolina, which obviously Anderson missed substantial amount of time, so that kind of helped. But then he came back, was kind of pushed aside. Then he saw some playoff time. It was just all sorts of weird. So
Yeah.
anything to add to that?
Does he remind you of Bennington at all? Like, cause you called him a hothead.
Kind of, cause he's wanted a goalie scrap a couple times.
Really?
Yeah, he's gone out there and like challenged for sure. He's like swinging at legs and stuff. Yeah, if you look up some clips, he's got kind of that same. I think his high end talent is higher than Binnington's, which I think is a little
100%.
crazy to say, just because like Binnington did win a cup.
Yeah.
But
that St. Louis team was like
they were on a magical run. Like, you want to talk about a team of destiny? Like, that was it. Like, turning the season around. What was it, like last?
They were last place
in January.
January.
Yeah, that's like team of destiny stuff.
That's unbelievable.
But I think his talent level is higher than Binnington. I also think that if he has consistent playtime, his consistency is more kind of tight lined stat wise than Binnington's. Like, I feel like Binnington either has like this electric game where he's shutting you out or allowing one goal, or he's allowing 6 on like 12 shots.
Yeah.
So
I think that's fair to say.
We are kind of getting close to that time. Any closing thoughts? Anything that's been eating at you?
No, I'm just excited for football to start back up. I know you're not a big NFL guy, but
I'm not a big NFL guy.
The Bears played their first preseason game last Thursday.
Yes, they did.
And they ended up winning due to a rain delay because there was lightning. But they play this Saturday against the Bills. The starters will be playing.
What are they gonna play? One drive?
Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze will probably get 2.
Okay.
Just because they're rookies. Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, Kevin Byard, like all their new guys, and like the older guys will probably get 1 drive. Like, they'll probably all start the game, and then it'll be backups from there on out.
What do you think of my Cardinals this year? How terrible?
Dude, I don't pay attention to baseball. I just keep updating myself on the White Sox losing streak. They're up to, is it 22 now or
no? They
21?
They ended it at 21. They won with a 21 game win streak, or sorry, loss streak.
Oh, imagine losing to that team.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
They're on a historic bad season right now.
I think the A's jinxed themselves during warm-ups of the game that would have put them at the 22nd loss streak. They played Taylor Swift. Played feeling 22, so
oh my god.
I feel like that was kind of the nail in the coffin. You hit that and
yeah,
it's over.
Oh, you if you're a sports bettor, you bet the White Sox immediately if you hear that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much time you had to get that in, but
yeah,
I don't know. Cardinals, it's not gonna be a good season, that's for sure. We got Maserati Marv, but that's about it.
What's their record right now?
Well, they haven't played yet. This is NFL, but you know.
No, I was talking about the Cardinals.
I know. So am I.
Oh,
I like both the Cardinals teams. Sorry, I know it's a little confusing.
Okay, I thought you were talking about baseball. I never knew you were an Arizona Cardinals fan.
They've just been so bad that it's hard to talk about. You know.
Is that what you were talking about? And then I brought up baseball.
Yes, but it's okay. We're leaving it. I'm not clipping it. It's fine. It's all right. Maserati Marv will save us in like 3 years when we're actually relevant. But until then, we're just doomed at the bottom.
Do you think Kyler has a breakout season?
No. I think Kyler has a good season, but yeah, they're gonna be so hard to stay in games that they're gonna have it on his shoulders to throw 40-ish times a game because they're gonna be chasing a game. So I don't have any high expectations.
Can we also talk about? Yeah, can we also talk about your weird like choice of liking teams?
My teams
like,
are all over the place. They're all over the place.
You're from Canada. Your favorite NHL teams, the Predators.
True.
Your baseball teams, the Cardinals.
True.
Your NFL teams, also the Cardinals.
True.
From Arizona.
True. Okay, so I can explain one of these really easy. I can explain one of these so easy. So like it was 20 would have been 2010, and I was looking at schools and I wanted to go to University of Arizona really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Never went, obviously. I am an NIU grad, and basically what happened is the community college that I went to told me like, "Hey, we're not helping you go to any school outside of the state. So if you want to go there, like you got to figure it out on your own on what classes are going to transfer." So that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stopped me from going, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was getting myself so ready to end up like heading out there and flying out there and enrolling and whatnot until I heard that, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not helping you with that." So then I stayed in
Would
state
you
and
mhm.
went
Would you
there.
have stayed out there if you like ended up going to school out there?
I mean, I would have stayed out there for college and then kind of assessed after that. I would have changed my whole life. Honestly, it would have changed my entire life
Yeah.
because um, I wouldn't have gotten a PE degree and I wouldn't be a PE teacher today because they don't offer it there. So kind
Oh
of
yeah.
worked out in a
What
weird
what
way.
would you have yeah, what would you have went for then?
I would have went
What'd
for
you want
like
to go for?
I would have went for some sort of like general education.
Okay.
I would have been like your like typical classroom teacher, which I think I'd be
Hmm.
pretty awesome at. I just don't want to do it. Like it's just not my thing. Like
Yeah.
I think I'd be
Yeah.
good at
Not
it,
my
but
thing either.
it's just I don't want to do
Mm.
it. But yeah, the Cardinals have just always kind of hated the Cubs, so that one was kind of natural. But yeah, I don't know. Big Illinois hater, big Chicago hater. It is what it is.
Uh,
All right,
just
man.
move already.
Just move. I would love to. I would love to leave. I really would. All right, that's it.
Uh,
That's the episode. We're out of here.
Peace.